Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. 2024 presidential debate has been set. GOP nominee Donald Trump has agreed to 3 debates with different networks against Vice President Kamala Harris. The first debate remains on September 10th on ABC. The former president originally pulled out after President Biden withdrew from the ticket. And Mr. Trump also said that he had proposed debates with Fox News on September 4th and NBC on September 25th. But what can we expect from a Trump-Harris debate? And returning to Capitol Review is Brett Samuels. Brett is a White House reporter for The Hill. Brett, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Brett, as you know, this is going to be the first time that both of these candidates will face off. What can we expect from a Trump-Harris debate?
Yeah, I think it'll certainly be a very different tone, very different energy than we saw in the Trump-Biden debate in late June that, of course, sort of preceded all this when it led to calls for President Biden to get out of the race. I think former President Trump certainly is going to want to go on offense. He's going to want to attack Vice President Harris, going to try and, tie her to the Biden administration's record, paint her as this liberal from San Francisco. And for Vice President Harris, I think this is really a big opportunity for her both to introduce herself to a lot of voters who maybe aren't as familiar with her, to sort of set herself apart from President Biden and sort of give her own vision for the country, and also prove that she can go toe-to-toe with former President Trump in a way that President Biden clearly struggled to in their late June debate.
All right, Brett, you're very familiar with the current climate. Are people really interested in the issues that they would debate, or are they more focused on who's going to get the best one-liners in?
Yeah, it does seem to be that that's sort of the state of our political climate these days, is that people are interested in sort of the zingers or who's got the best sort of attack lines on the other. I think good evidence of that is how Democrats, this idea of attacking Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance as, quote, weird or weirdos has really caught on. I think that's kind of good evidence that folks are really kind of latching onto the lines of attack as opposed to maybe the policy differences. But certainly with Vice President Harris, there is something to be said for the fact that she's not the current president. She hasn't exactly laid out a policy platform of her own. So I do think there will be at least some interest in hearing from her as far as what positions she might take that might be different from President Biden or different from her own 2020 presidential bid.
And what should be a former president's plan going in, and what should be the current vice president's plan of attack going in?
Yeah, certainly for former President Trump, I think, there's a couple things. One, I think he needs to sort of come up with a line of attack that actually resonates. He sort of struggled to define Vice President Harris or really land any punches in the first few weeks of her candidacy. He's sort of, bounced around from trying to attack her on policy to sort of criticizing her intelligence or criticizing her heritage. And I think that gets at the other thing for him, which is he needs to avoid those kinds of big, controversial, sort of self-created issues that he maybe has had in past debates. Certainly, we remember in 2016 against Hillary Clinton when he sort of, stalked her around the stage, and that became a sort of viral image. Some of his comments in the 2020 debates against President Biden, when he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. So former President Trump certainly would need to avoid any kinds of, controversial, incendiary comments like that. And for Vice President Harris, I think, she needs to show that she can, parry away Trump's attacks. She can respond on her feet quickly in ways that President Biden clearly struggled to do. And I think she needs to draw contrasts with former President Trump in terms of her agenda, her vision for the country, and show voters that she's capable of leading if she's elected in November.
Brett Samuels with The Hill, thank you very much.